Hi, some of you recently subscribed to my video about that I was off of Zepbound for a month. Since then, I was off of it for about maybe 2 months. Then I got back on it, lost a little bit of weight. And, anyways, I just kind of want to share with you just how big of a yo yo that was for me. So last summer, I got off and I gained weight back. I was like 180. I feel like that's where my body wants to hang out. Where I want my body to hang out is 160. So 20 pounds. So I was 160, bumped back up to 180, got back on Zepbound, and lost some weight. Maybe I got down to like 170 this fall. And I was just taking 2.5 because that is what really makes me feel good, in terms of like no side effects. So went on a family vacation. That was the whole point. I wanted to be 170 to feel a little bit better, because 10 pounds is a lot, right? Like if you've lost weight, gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, you would understand. That's a lot of weight. And you can feel it in your clothing. And so I lost 10 pounds and then gained it back because then I got off of it. So this last, maybe January, I went in and saw my doctor and I said, what the hell? Like, I think my hormones are off. Like, something's going on. And she kind of looked at me and she was just like, well, I mean, if you're eating more than you normally were, and you might not be continuing with those healthy habits that you gained when you were on Zepbound, you're bound to gain weight. And I was like, yeah. Like just a slap of reality, which that's why I love my doctor. And so I did. I did. I mean, when I lose weight, I'm like, oh my God, I lost weight. Like, yay. Ice cream. I can do anything now because I lost the weight. I know, it's silly, but I've done like Weight Watchers when I was like 12 or 13. So this has literally been my life. And this medication has been the game changer. The game changer. Because it allows for me to just keep that noise quiet. And I can really intentionally think about what I want to eat and what is going to be good for me and my, my health and my weight and all that kind of stuff. So I got back on Zepbound, did the 2.5 for about 2 or 3 months to get back down. I mean, I went back to 180. And if any of you have been following along, I was about in my like 220 after I had my second child and then lost some weight. So I was hanging out at 200 for a year or two postpartum. And that's when I started back up, or I started with this medication because I talked to my doctor and I was like, what the hell? And she said, oh, there's this thing called Mounjaro. Back then, that was 2023. And I was like, okay, tell me more. And then, so that would have been December 2023. So January 2024, that's when Zepbound came on the market, or at least she could have prescribed it for me. And then I got on Zepbound, was on that for 5 or so months, back when you were paying like $4.99 or $5.50 or whatever with the coupon. And that's a lot of money. And both myself and my husband, we both work full time, and that's a lot of money. And then I lost weight. So I went from 200 to 160, felt great. And then ever since then, it's just been this up and down to 170. I feel like I've been at 170 more consistently in the last 3 years than anything. But I would bop back up to 180 And then that's when like kind of that panic set in, because you could feel it in your clothes. You know, going from a size 10 to a size 12, that's very dramatic, and you can feel it in everything that you wear. So journey. But when I did go up to a 5, when I was injecting 5, was when I was getting really sick. I did go up to 7.5, and that was like literally debilitating. Literally debilitating. Like I would take the shot the next day, I was kind of okay. But then that next day, literally in bed, never been so sick in my whole entire life. Whole entire life. Bedbound. Literally bedbound. Right next to the bathroom. So that's when I stopped. Went back to 5. I was still getting a lot of side effects. And then fast forward 2025, I got off of it for a few months, back up 180, and then got back down to 170 for a family vacation. I wanted to be able to wear shorts and feel good in them. Then fast forward to December of 2025, and I was 180, 175, 180. And I go into my doctor and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I think my hormones, something's going on. She smacked me with some truth just about like basic information about, you know, if you eat too much, you'll gain weight. And so then I got back on it. 2.5, and I'm down to 160 now, or 164, I should say. And so being at 164 feels amazing. But I wonder for me if that means that this is just what I need to be on, this medication. Because my hunger cues are so quiet. And that feels good. Because if you have any food noise, you understand that you're literally thinking about food all day long. Like, what's my next meal? Literally constantly. And if you don't have that, maybe when it comes to a drug or alcohol, like you understand that. And I had that too with alcohol, and that's why I stopped 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years. Right? 5.5. Yeah, it's 2026. So in December this year, it'll be 6 years. And then very shortly after I stopped, I got pregnant with my second child, which is amazing. Just amazing. We were trying for many months and it wasn't happening. And luckily it wasn't, because had I been drinking and got pregnant, that would have been very, very bad. And so anyway, so this last couple of months, it's already May, it's wild. So January to May, I've been 2.5 to 5, and literally no side effects. None. So I do encourage you to speak with your doctor, speak with whoever's prescribing this medication for you, about maybe stopping and seeing if getting back on could help. Because this is kind of insane. Every single week, I'm taking this medication because I want to get down to 160, and I'm doing it in a very healthy way. I mean, it's just, you know, half pound every week, a pound every week, whatever it's been, and it feels really good. There are some weeks where I maintain. Wonderful. I've been at 164 for a couple of weeks now. Great. I love that for my body. What questions do you have? I was on literally Tirzepatide, Semaglutide compounds. Then on those were awful side effects for me. I never was on Wegovy or what's their Semaglutide? I don't even know. I'd never been on a name brand Semaglutide, just a compound Semaglutide through Fridays. I tried hers, and their they have like a medication thing where it's just like a pill. Didn't like that. That's right. That's what I tried. I was like, oh yeah, no, like Zepbound works. So I went back on it, and now I'm back on it. I was on Mounjaro, then Zepbound, then Tirzepatide compound, Semaglutide compound, and then back to Zepbound. The highest I went was 7.5, and like I said, so sick. Never been so sick in my life. And I'm allergic to gluten. In 2011, I had the blood tests, all the stuff, and yeah, I'm non-celiac, gluten intolerant. And anyone with any of that, gut issues, I thought it was lactose intolerant, and then I thought it was just my anxiety, which, yeah, that didn't help. But I would love to answer any questions that you may have in terms of my journey, right? I can't talk about your journey. I can't talk about what I recommend, any of that kind of stuff. That's not my job here. I do recommend finding a therapist and asking about EMDR. It's a form of therapy. Right now, you're in my office with me as a therapist. I'm working towards gaining my hours, so I'm not licensed yet. But I just went through that training, and as a client, I was a client to my colleagues as they were practicing being a clinician, and then I was a clinician, they were the client. But as the client, EMDR is amazing. Like, if you have these thoughts about yourself, internal thoughts about yourself, these beliefs, these really core beliefs based on memories and experiences, that you had in your life, what EMDR can help you with is really understand and kind of change your way of thinking about yourself, about the experiences, all that kind of stuff. What questions do you have? Comment below, but also hit that subscribe button so that when I am posting, then you get notified. The algorithm's been kind of funny on some of the other channels that I follow that I've been hearing. So hit that subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.